Hey everybody, welcome back. It's 6:40 p.m. and I'm watching the Twilight Zone. It's called the Parallel, where he realizes that he's in there's a parallel universe, right? So in this reality, um, which I can see that because of the vision I had in October 2020, when I was at God's feet. I was telling you about his brass feet, and then Prince Michael was there with a book open, and he had this like white robe with gold things around his arms, and then Archangel Gabriel was posting up all my notes uh, from what I've been doing at the up to that time, and they were showing me. So I was like standing between God and and we're like on this hovercraft going across, looking at each one of these screens. And when I got to the first one or the second screen, it dawned on me that then what they were showing me they were like they were like photographs. It's like taking a picture of my notes of this page right here, because you can even see on the screen that these parts of the page, or even the graph, it was like identical. So it's like they were taking pictures of my work, which is, when I was telling you about how everything is it's like our mind's eye. I don't know, somehow on an energetic level, I think our mind's eye is being used when we activate it, or possibly, who knows, maybe when people don't think that they have it activated, because that's the arm of God, that they're watching. Everything's being recorded and watched. Since our right brain is the emotional brain and our left brain is the lymphatic, the immune brain, and down here's the dragon, which is the serpent, the milk and honey. This is where Michael's crosses over, which makes an X. So that type of symbolism. So I started drawing out some things here, because when they were doing the countdown, it was T minus like 25 seconds, and then they count down. I'm like, oh, T minus, T min. So I started doing some drawing, and so these are our ears, right? This is our the third temple, Solomon's third temple being built. Lord Jesus is right here. These are our two eyes. This is our nose. This is our mouth, soul, right? This is the pyramid on top, or the birthday cap, recognized as a birthday cap, or a funnel cap, or a dunce cap, but it's actually a pyramid, and it's on iPet Goat 2 with the letter D. D means Daniel, doorway. I look at it as Daniel, or Den, right? Because Dan is the same. Dan is written as Dan, or Den, or Din. And then DI means two atoms, and then a mountain. So the Den. Okay, so we got two dens. We got men. Remember, I told you the Egyptian god is a black guy with the white robe. And I was telling you about Obama, so setting up the abomination of desolation. So you got Obama, and then Obama's husband is Michael, that nasty, that even, I'm sorry, let me go back. There's a negative phish, and there's a positive phish, right? So the Michael Obama they're setting up the abomination of desolation. So he's the bad Michael, right? Because he's a man dressed as a woman. That's why when they look at Lucifer, the prince of darkness, he is represented as a male, and he's represented as a female. Now, if we look at Obama's husband, wife, he's both. He's representing himself as both. Pretty interesting, right? It's symbology. So here's our heart center. So minutes, or the god Min, which is MIN, but on a clock, you got Min. Min's brother is Horus, the hawk up above, right? And Horus is the same letters for hours. So minute, because it takes like 2 or 3 minutes sometimes for Adam and Eve to excite down here. And then there's the Adam and Eve as well. So Lord Jesus is Prince Michael. He crosses over right here, which is in our diaphragm by our heart. I showed you Nostradamus' image, right? Okay, so when we look at this, look at it sideways. It's a fish going down, so you can see it, like a fish's eye. So the fish, remember I was telling you, Trump always puts his hands together like this, and they meet into a triangle. So does Angela Merkel. She does the same thing. And then if you look at Trump and Angela Merkel, they both have red hair and they're both from Germany. So, okay. And then Trump has a wife of Russia. So it's quite interesting how this is whole playing out. And let's see here. So when we're up here, this is our right eye, our left eye, and then our mind's eye. So this is the Last Supper table. This is our temple mind. Okay, and then the Last Supper as well. Go up to the highest, go see the guy carrying the pitcher of water. So the pitcher of water is, I wonder if Daniel's the one that's carrying the pitcher of water. Very interesting. When we think of water, the 12th letter represent 12 o'clock. The 12th letter in ancient Greek is mu, which is mountain, rapid water. Moses goes to the highest mountain. So I bet you it's representing here. I wonder if it's Moses that carries the pitcher of water. Interesting. So if you look at it this way, remember on The Simpsons, they were predicting about a fish coming out with 3 eyes. Well, not only is it symbolically happening on the earth itself, like the contamination and stuff like that, but for our body, it's our 2 eyes and our mind's eye. So the 3rd eye on the forehead, the 3-eyed fish. So heading up into heaven. Very interesting, right? So I did some drawing here, and then we got Psalms 23. Psalms 23, God or King David, right, is on the heart and in the mind. So right here, so it's three brains, or the 3 B's, which is the emotional brain, the lizard brain or dragon brain, or frog. Remember, it's still a reptile. And then you've got the lymphatic brain, which is the immunity system. Okay, and its cords run down the spine, which is quite interesting because it's about immunity, right? And the cords that runs down the spine is the serpent snake, the DNA. Very interesting, right? Okay, so our heart beats in seconds, heartbeat. So 60 to 100 beats is normal per minute. And I went to look it up right here. So 60 to 100 beats is normal. You remember, I don't know if you've ever I'm sure you've been in PE class or whatever, or in college when you do a lap or 2 around the track, and you're supposed to stop, and then you take your, they teach you how to take your heartbeat by your pulse on your hair or on your neck, right? And then, they see how, or when they take your blood pressure, right? So, and then, what else did I want to say? Oh, and then we resonate at 7.83. Well, if we multiply that by 3, because I think that's why they say we only use 5% of our, possibly 5% of our brain. I'm not sure. So hold on a second. Let me get this. So 7.83, because I'm seeing something in my mind and I'm trying to talk and do this at the same time. 23.49. So 23.49. So 23 is like Psalms 23, which you are my rod and my staff. You make me lie down in green pastures. So the rod and staff is the DNA, and you make me lie down in green pastures, which is you make me lie down in my heart, right? Making me heart-centered. Interesting. 49, 7 times. Oh, check out 49. The fourth letter is D, and the ninth letter is I for D. D is den, 2 atoms. 2 atoms. Interesting. Isn't this stuff far out? And everything is stemming from King David, right? Because there's the 3 seeds that are planted, 3 beans, right? We got Christianity. Christianity was the crown of thorns. T for trumpet horns, because the trumpet horns are going up here. So this is Gabriel. And then you've got Israel, which is King David for Judaism. So King David, it's his seed. And then we got Lord Jesus is from King David. And this is Islam. Islam. So Islam is iron staff, lambda. Lambda is the rooftop, which is considered the top, the lamb. I wonder if Daniel is the lamb. Okay. I wonder if Daniel is the lamb and Jesus is the ram. Now, when we think of ram, look at the word ram. R-A is for random. RAM is random access memory. But when we look at raw is right here, the sun, raw. Okay. And 88, if you look at 88, somehow 88 is representing raw right there. I was thinking of symbols. And then M for the highest mountain, which is 12. 12 o'clock is right here on our forehead of the clock. Oh, so interesting. But anyway, I wanted to do a quick, remember, Israel is iron staff, raw, L. Iron staff, real. It could be real. Remember, when we look at real, is everything is real, like the energy and everything. Or we can look at a rail, which is raw, electric. A raw L. L is God, El Shaddai. Okay. Oh, so interesting, right? But anyway, so when I'd seen this on the parallel universe and how there's 2 realities with the same people, everything is very similar. Our friends, our families are all playing the same role, except for it's just slightly different. And I think that has to do with actually being on remember, because they showed the 3 fish with the 3 eyes, so it's actually appearing in the reality, but it's also happening within our body, our kingdom at the same time. So in our reality, there's a parallel universe. And I think I kind of remembered that back in 2018 in one of my visions, which I realized that it was a guy that I had an online relationship with him for like 6 months. I don't even know what I was doing. That was just crazy. But anyway, I woke up Well, I didn't wake up. I rose up out of the bed, and he was laying next to me. I've not met this guy, no, except for online. But somehow my body was laying next to his, and it was in bed, and I was raised up, and I turned around and I looked at myself and looking down, and I remember him waking up and start shaking me, going, "Casey, Casey, you can't leave me, Casey, Casey." And I remember looking down at him, and I was like thinking, God, I can't leave him now. I just met him. And then I woke up, here out of that dream, and I had told him. And of course, shortly after that, I was thinking at that time, back in 2018, 2019, of about that dream, because it was still, or that vision, it was still on my mind. I was literally floating above my body, and I wasn't nervous or scared. The only thing that come to my mind was I was being held. What was holding me here, and it was him. And of course, I broke up with him and ended that, because and then remember I was telling you about my pets. I didn't want to go and leave them behind. I didn't want them to go in my family's care, because, I don't like the way they treat animals. And besides, they have bigger animals that would probably eat my dogs or kill them. I didn't want them being separating, going to the pound or anything like that. So I was praying to God, and they were up to like 17 and 18 years old. And what was it? Dingo was 17, and then Peanut, I think, went at 19 years old. So they had long, healthy lives until the end. They both had heart problems. It was kind of interesting, but I felt relieved. And that's when Peanut, my male pup, went down on October 19th around 10:30 in the morning of 2020. And as soon as I got home, because I was crying, I was like, God, what am I going to do right now? I don't have anybody to come home and be happy to meet me. I don't have anybody to sleep at night with. What am I going to do? So I laid on the couch, and that's when I went into that vision where God was showing me I was at his feet. Well, of course, there's another part. There's still the three friends that I went to their bedrooms, two friends and then my older brother, telling them, come on, he's here. But I didn't even know I was meeting God consciously until I went around the corner and I seen Archangel Michael and Archangel Gabriel, or Prince Michael and Archangel Gabriel. They were like hovering or floating towards me. And I go, does God want to see me? Or does God want to talk to me? And Michael said, yes. And then Gabriel goes, I'll show him. And he takes off over and starts putting up all my notes on these screens, which I didn't know they were my notes at the time. But that's when I realized I was sitting at God's feet, and his feet are literally brass colored. It was so cool. And this leg was laying next to his leg, so I was between both of his legs, sitting up against on this thing. Is of course he was sitting up on the chair because his leg was like huge. Going up, because I was looking at my leg, and I put my leg up right next to his, and I was like looking. This is exactly what I was doing, you guys. So I was comparing my leg to his leg, how giant, how much bigger it was. And he had those sandals, like laced up sandal kind of like things, really cool. And his feet were so perfect. Oh my goodness. He had the perfect brass feet, and shaped feet. And I was getting ready to, because I was like thinking, oh, I want to touch his feet. And I was getting ready to lean over to touch his feet, and I go, oh, he's right behind me. He can hear everything I'm saying. And then that's when he picked me up, to look at the things. But I was, it's like, the things that you do, I think it's the things that we do, because we literally, I know from my perspective and my visions, I'm literally like a little kid, or so fascinated from a soul level, of everything. My reactions, I notice my reactions. Um, and I think it's really fascinating. And then realizing that I had another body. So I was laying in here physically in this reality while still in another reality. But the body that I was in the other reality was like this one, but it looked different. My body looked, I mean, my feet and everything's still shaped the same, but my skin was like a whiter color or um, I don't know, but I liked it. I thought, oh my goodness, I look good. So this is where possibly in another reality, we have this alternate body. And that's why this guy was saying yesterday, it's like, we never die. We're eternal sentient beings. The body, the gold, right? The body's the gold. The gold has got to stay. So don't store your treasures or your silver up. Remember, I was talking earlier about how everybody's going buy stock in gold and silver, but if the stock market is going down and the whole stock market is controlled by the elites and it's all bad money, then what do people think is going to happen? They think they're going to keep that money from that stock market, or is that money just going to be forgotten, erased? Because if they're going to start a reset in a new system and all debts are going to be erased and all money is going to be erased, then how are you going to be able to keep something that you think that you have now or that you're stocking up for if you don't physically have it in your hand? Like if you don't hold the gold bars in your hand, then it's worthless, right? Because you don't physically have it, compared to just putting your money, this note money, into a system that's going to be shut down. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that real quick and show you this drawing because remember, it's the two fish, right? You got the bad fish, the minute, right, of the land, because you can see they haven't went anywhere because they're still down here in the crotch area and they're still worshiping on the land. And this kind of even looks like a tent as well, even representing the underworld. That is interesting, right? So we work our way up the railroad up to our mind, and then this is quite interesting because 3 eyes, it looks like a 3-eyed fish, and this is the nose of the fish. Of course, the fish is bigger at this end than it is at this end. Quite interesting, right? Okay, hope you guys enjoyed that. And then looking at using our brain, our whole entire brain, and recognizing our lizard brain or our dragon brain or our frog brain, because remember, we were born in a water world in the mother's womb sac, and remember, Adam is both Adam and Eve, because God created Eve from Adam's left chromosome, his left rib cage, meaning to create a woman, God had taken the woman out of man, but he didn't leave man with just males. He left man still with Adam and Eve, the creation, the Y and X chromosome. And then in Hebrew, the medical field reads the male chromosome as XY. And they're reading it that way because in Hebrew, you read this way, left to right. So XY. In Greek, goes this way. English goes this way. We read this way. But remember, Hebrew is the opposite of English. So Hebrew is the opposite of English. English is on the land, right? Interesting stuff. Hope you guys like that. I did. Sharing is caring. And don't forget about the trumpets. And the keys, remember, C, definition of Gab. Gab is Gabriel. Gabriel is the trumpets, the horns, right? And then the 10 horns are the 7 right here. And then Israel thorns, which is Christianity, and Islam, right? The mother. King David married in Islam, created Christ, Christianity. Very interesting. This is why the 3 seeds that are planted. This is why the Christians don't like the Muslims. Muslims don't like them. So they've all divided themselves, and they can't see to go up. Hopefully, everybody else that has been watching me kind of understands and sees how T minus. So T minus. We look down here. There's like a T. So the Last Supper table is on the land. So, for those that are of the whoredom, right, or playing the beast part, because the beast is on the land. So the dragon that rises, right, up out of the sea. Woohoo! So anyway, I've been noticing that these twilight zones from back in the day even are showing us in all their symbolism of, like, there's one about the old grandfather clock, right? The old grandfather clock is right here. And then here is 3, 6, 9, right? The triangle. And then you've got 1 plus 2 is 3. So you can go a triangle right here to the right, stay the right-hand side of Father, 3, 6, and 9. Or if we're reading it Hebrew style, the clock would turn back time, because we read this way in time, and time is going to be reversed, meaning Hebrew, we read this way.